Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another video of ChemSolve. Today we will solve Cambridge IGCSE Chemistry Paper 2, that is multiple choice. The code for this paper is 0620/23 May-June 2025. In this video we will solve part 2 of this paper, that is from question number 21 till 40. So let's move towards question number 21. So, question number 21 says, group 1 metal lithium or potassium is reacted with group 7 element chlorine or iodine. Which compound is formed when the group 1 metal of the highest density react with the group 7 element of the lowest density? So, for that we have to look at the periodic table. In periodic table, lithium is here and potassium is here, while density increases, then we move down the group. And chlorine is here, iodine is here, density also increases when we move down the group. So it's mean it would have lower density, it would have highest density, it would have lowest density, it would have high density. So from group 1, the element of the highest density would be potassium, and from group 7, the element of the lowest density would be chlorine. So the option would be potassium chloride. You can see highest density, that is potassium, and the lowest density from group 7 is chlorine. So the correct option is potassium chloride, option A. Question number 22. Element X is in the same group of the periodic table as silicon. An atom of the element X has more proton than the silicon atom. What could be the element X? So, silicon, belongs to group 4 of the periodic table. Okay, so aluminium, it belongs to group 3 of the periodic table. Carbon belongs to group 4 of the periodic table. Germanium also belongs to group 4 of the periodic table. Phosphorus belongs to group 5 of the periodic table. So that's how we need to choose the option that has a similar group as silicon. So aluminium and phosphorus are not our option. We have to choose between carbon and germanium. Now, to look at the number of the proton, let's see the periodic table. So in periodic table, carbon is here, silicon is here, and germanium is here. Carbon has 6 proton, silicon has 14 proton, germanium has 32 proton, and we need an element that has more proton than silicon. So clearly our option is silicon. The option is germanium, sorry. So option C. Question number 23. Which statement about group 8 is correct? They all form diatomic molecule. Of course not. Instead, they form monoatomic molecule. They all have 8 electrons in their outer shell. Of course not, because helium has only 2 electrons. They all react with oxygen to form the oxide. No, because they are unreactive. So what would be the option for question number 23? They all are gases at room temperature. This option is the correct one. Now move towards question number 24. Which element is the transition element? So for transition element, we have to look at their melting point, density, and color of the oxide. So we know the melting point of the transition element are high. The density is also high, and they form colored compound. So if they will form colored compound and they have the high melting and boiling point, then we will reject option A and C because it has lower melting point, it has lower density, and it is white. While option C, it is again white, density is low, melting point is high, but of course, the other two options are not correct. Okay, now look at option B and C. The density of B is relatively higher. It is relatively higher as compared to this. Okay. Melting point is much more higher. This is 328, this is 1907, it is much more higher. Its density is higher, its density is lower, but there is lesser difference as compared to melting point, and it is also green. So I will go with the option D. Okay, now question number 25. 4 test tube containing dilute hydrochloric acid. Each test tube has one piece of the different metal. The metals are copper, iron, magnesium, and zinc. So for that, we have to look at the reactivity series. In reactivity series, if I arrange these gases, first come magnesium, then comes zinc, then iron, then hydrogen, and then copper. So of course, copper will not react because it cannot replace the H of the hydrochloric acid. So copper would be B, where there are no bubbles of gas because copper didn't react with the hydrochloric acid. The gas which is producing most bubble, of course, it would be magnesium because it is highly reactive. Which is producing medium bubbles, it would be zinc because it comes down, then the magnesium. So it would react fairly high with the calcium, hydrochloric acid, and iron would be this because it is below magnesium, zinc. So it would react slower as compared to magnesium and zinc. So I think option A is the correct one. Now question number 27. Brass is the mixture of, question number 26. Brass is a mixture of copper and zinc. Which statement describe and explain the relative strength of the brass compared to the copper? Okay. So brass is stronger than copper because the layer of the atom in the brass cannot slide easily over each other. Yes, this could be the option because what happens when we make alloys? There are atoms of the different sizes. And due to these difference in the size, they cannot easily slide over each other. So it seems to be the correct option. Just look at the other option as well. Brass is stronger than iron because the intermolecular forces. No, it don't have the intermolecular forces. Instead, it has the force of attraction between oppositely charged ions, positively charged metal ions and free or delocalized electrons. So this is incorrect. Brass is weaker than copper because the layer of atoms slide more easily. No, not at all. Brass is weaker than iron because the intermolecular forces, again, intermolecular forces do not exist in the alloys. So as per our discussion, A is the correct option. Question number 27. A sample of the calcium carbonate is heated strongly. Substance U and V are formed. Okay, let's see what happens when the calcium carbonate is heated. So when calcium carbonate is heated, then as a result of the thermal decomposition, it will form calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Okay, so these are our options, calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So option C is the correct one. Question number 28. A sample of the water taken from the river contains the harmful microbes. What is the source of the harmful microbes in the river water? Okay. So fertilizer, detergent, plastic, of course, it is a fact that the source is sewage, that is option A. It is a matter of fact. So for 28, the option is A. Now look at question number 29. Anhydrous copper sulfate and anhydrous copper chloride changes color when water is added to them. Which row shows the correct color change? Okay. So you must remember that anhydrous copper sulfate, when we add water into it, changes into hydrated copper sulfate. The color of anhydrous is white, while the color of hydrated is blue. And in the case of cobalt chloride, anhydrous cobalt chloride, when we add water into it, it changes into hydrated cobalt chloride. It is blue and the hydrated one is pink. You need to remember it is also called the test for water. So keeping this information in our mind, of course, the correct option is option C. Okay, now the next question is question number 30. Which gases contribute to increase the global warming? Argon, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and oxygen. You know, it's also the matter of fact. The correct option should be carbon dioxide. That is B. Okay, so now look at question number 31. Which statement describe how greenhouse gases increase the global warming? Okay, so before understanding this question, let's understand that how the greenhouse gases contribute into the global warming. They actually absorb radiations that are the heat actually, and they re-emit it into the Earth's surface. So no heat is lost from the Earth's surface. Instead, the temperature of the Earth increases itself. So first option says absorb thermal energy from the sun, reducing the Earth temperature. Not at all. It increases the Earth's temperature instead. Reflect the thermal energy back into the space and cooling the Earth. Global warming is instead heating the Earth. So this is, of course, the incorrect option. Greenhouse gases absorbed and re-emit, yes. From the Earth's surface, yes, it seems to be the correct, but look at the D as well. Greenhouse gases release thermal energy from the Earth into the space. No. If they would do so, then there would be no global warming. So C is the correct option. Question number 32. Nitrogen monoxide is produced in the car engine when petrol is burned. The gases from the car engine are passed through the catalytic converter. In the catalytic converter, nitrogen monoxide react with the carbon monoxide to form the nitrogen and the carbon dioxide. So which option is the correct one? Sorry, is not correct. Okay. So what happens actually? Carbon monoxide is oxidized to carbon dioxide, while nitrogen monoxide is reduced to nitrogen. So he's saying carbon monoxide is oxidized in the catalytic converter. Yes, it is oxidized. We just have written, so this is correct. Carbon monoxide is produced by the complete combustion. No, carbon dioxide is produced by the incomplete combustion instead. So this is not correct. Nitrogen monoxide is formed by the reduction. Yes, nitrogen monoxide is reduction. So this is also correct. Nitrogen monoxide is reduced. Yes, it is reduced. So B is not correct, and this is our option. Now move to question number 33. The displayed formula of the but2ene is shown. Which displayed formula represents the structural isomers of the but2ene? So for isomers, we have to look at the molecular formula. It should be same. So here there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hydrogen. Okay, here 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hydrogen. And there is also a double bond. There is also a double bond. So it seems to be the correct one. 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hydrogen. That is not correct. It should have the same atoms as the one that is being shown in the question. So here 1, 2, 3 and 4 carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hydrogen. And also there's a double bond. So 2 is not correct. If 2 is not correct, then A couldn't be the option, B couldn't be the option, D couldn't be the option. So the correct one is option C. Question number 34. Which describe the two characteristics of the members of the same homologous series? Okay, so same homologous series, they have same function group, yes. Trend in the physical properties, yes. It seems to be the correct option, but look at the other one. Same physical property, no. They have a gradual change in the physical properties instead. Same function group, yes. Same general formula, yes. Different chemical properties, no. All the members of the same homologous series have the same chemical properties. So this is incorrect. Differing from one member to the next by CH3 unit, no. Instead CH2 unit. So this is incorrect. Similar chemical properties, yes. So I believe A is the correct option because both are ticks. Okay, so now question number 35. Compound W is a hydrocarbon that contains single bond only. So it is the hydrocarbon. Okay, so hydrocarbon means carbon and hydrogen only. Single bond, carbon, carbon, single bond. This is the characteristics of alkanes. We know this is alkane. So I believe B is the correct option. Because alkenes have carbon-carbon double bond, carboxylic acid have C double bond OH, and it says only carbon and hydrogen, because but it contains oxygen as well, so not. And hydroxyl OH contain alcohols contain OH, so an O is here, so this is not the option. We need only carbon and hydrogen in hydrocarbons. Question number 36. Methane forms the chloromethane in a photochemical reaction using ultraviolet light. Okay. So this is basically the substitution reaction. We have methane, that is this, and we reacted with chlorine. What happens? HCl is removed and one hydrogen of methane is replaced by chlorine. So in the first option, he is saying methane is mixed with hydrogen. No, methane is mixed with chlorine. Methane is mixed with hydrogen chloride gas. No, hydrogen chloride gas is the product. Methane is mixed with the chlorine gas and ultraviolet light prevent the combustion. No, ultraviolet light is required for the activation of the process. So incorrect. Methane is mixed with chlorine gas. Yes. Ultraviolet light provide the activation energy. Yes. So D is the correct option. Question number 37. Which statement about polymer is correct? Okay, so first of all, look at option A. So nylon contains the linkage C double bond O NH. It seems to be the correct option. Nylon is a polyester. No, it is a polyamide. So this is incorrect. It is polyamide. Propane can be polymerized by addition polymerization. Propene can be polymerized. Alkenes are polymerized using addition polymerization. So D is also incorrect. So A is the correct option as per our discussion. Question number 38. The step used to separate the mixture of the soluble solid and insoluble solid. Okay, soluble solid and insoluble solid, that is basically filtration. So for filtration, what happens? A solution is made by adding a mixture into a suitable solvent. He is saying solute. So A and B are the incorrect option. The mixture is stirred and then poured through the filter paper lined with the filter funnel lined with the filter paper. The insoluble solid is corrected. It is called residue. Like this, for example, it is something like this. So insoluble one remain here as a residue, while the soluble move here and it is called filtrate. So D is the correct option. Question number 39. Which item of the apparatus is used to separate the mixture of the liquid with a different boiling point? Okay, let's understand first of all how we can separate the mixture of the liquid having the different boiling point. So for that we use fractional distillation. So this is not the option because it is showing kind of crystallization or evaporation. This is electrolysis. It is showing titration. So the correct option is option A. This is fractionating column. Now the last question of this paper, question number 40. In paper chromatography, what is the equation for the RF value? We know this. This is a fact. Distance traveled by the substance divided by distance traveled by the solvent. So just look for our correct option. So that would be option D. Now we have completed this paper. Thank you so much for watching. Allah Hafiz.